You know, as we go through our tour through art history, some of the early periods of art, when you're walking around the museums and you see the gold leaf paintings, sometimes you feel like, okay, I've seen a couple gold leaf paintings and it's time to move on. Let's see Rembrandt. He's right around the corner. But you know, Rembrandt wouldn't have been Rembrandt if there weren't some of the giants before him. And one of the giants in the early, what we call proto-Renaissance in the early 13th century, is a man named Giotto. So what Giotto introduces to the world is what we call a value scale. Now I'm sure with Giotto it was 3, 4, 5, 6 values, kind of a light, a medium dark, and a dark. But I found that if you have 15 values, the camera can see all 15 values, and so can your eye. So the more values, the more realistic. Basically what Giotto does is he just says darker, farther away. Well, that's a great concept, and it's going to lead us to many videos because you can't always do it. But let's just start with what Giotto brings out. And you have to look at it this way. Giotto starts during a period of egg tempera, of stained glass with the black wrought iron or the black solder around the edges. Everything's outlined, everything's flat. Everything's a silhouetted shape, telling a story in shape, as they did in Walk Like an Egyptian in the early Egyptian periods. So to go from a flat image to make it looking round is a new thing in Florence, Italy, and everyone's excited. Now Giotto's famous for the Arena Chapel in Padua, and that's just outside of Venice. But so let me just introduce you to a quick little sentence to darker, farther away, and why I think that starts the whole tamale of everything else that'll follow. So as I'm looking at Giotto's painting, and he has, you know, this man sitting here like this, and this going here like this, and he's going to start light, and he's going to gradually make it a light value, and then a little darker, and a little darker, and a little darker, and darker and darker. And what that gives, what the art world will call mass and solidity. It's the beginning of making something three-dimensional. And this absolutely takes no talent. What it takes is you to say to yourself, okay, so here I'm standing here, I'm drawing this finger, which part is closest to your eye? And then you make that lighter and you gradually go darker, farther away. So what happens with darker, farther away, if I jump forward to Monet, Monet's going to introduce the world to changing temperature as something moves away from you. So if I just turn this upside down and you're painting, say this color happens to be orange, then orange as a color would go all the way to yellow toward the sun. You'd have a lot of white in it and you wouldn't see it. And then it would gradually get redder and start to go to purple into the shadows. So everything, regardless of the color, would go from yellow-green to green to blue. Or if it was yellow, it'd go from white to yellow to green. Everything changes temperature according to Monet. You know, there's a bigger sentence that comes from that, though. If it's gradually moving darker, farther away, then that means something's happening. Wow, that brings up another video, though. Then the opposite of something happening is nothing happening. So now I have a choice as an artist. Do I change value and make it move in space and say something's happening, it's moving away from me? The sun is coming out, it's a new morning and there's an eruption. Or it's an area of rest, it's calm and peaceful. And then I even have a third choice. The best way to make something look like something's happening is have areas in a painting where nothing's happening. And we call that an area of rest. Different video, different topic.